the tape for this, our main event of the evening. We introduce the champion, Chris, the West Side Strangler Brennan. Let's get it on!
What's up, guys? We're back to go over the results, I guess, of UFC 290 in Las Vegas. It was a great card. I think, what, 3 out of 5?
I think we said 4 out of 6 because you.
Okay, 4 out of 6, and there was 2 that I would have traded for all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was bummed about it.
Absolutely.
Great night of fights.
There was enough, though. I kind of liked that it wasn't predictable.
Right.
You know.
Oh yeah, it was definitely. There were definitely some on there that could have gone either way, and even as the fights took place, they were still, good and very close fights.
For sure. First fight, man, how about Robbie Lawler?
Kicked the night off for me, man. There was obviously a lot of prelim fights before that, but I was so excited to see him. First of all, a guy who's very stoic, very unemotional.
Yeah.
Was emotional before he even got into the cage.
Yeah. And
then was very emotional afterwards. And I'm just happy to see him go out on top. I was being funny. I looked over at Lucas and I was like, he's right now. He's going, well, I looked pretty good in that one. Let's do one more. Because that's what happens to everybody.
Sure
that's what happens to everybody. And then they lose one, and they're like chasing that one feeling again, and they end up on a 4 or 5 skid. And so, I was very happy that he was done and happy and got a big win. Over a tough guy. Right before the fight started, I said it's unfortunate that he has to have another fight like this before he retires, because I thought it was going to be a banger, and get drawn out and be bloody, and he was able to get through with barely getting hit.
If I remember right, they got it kind of into the center of the octagon, and then he got him almost in a clinch with his right hand and just started throwing lefts, and there were 2 hooks and an uppercut that came up.
The uppercut was brutal. And then an overhand right, I think, as he was
going down. I was going to ask you, do you think the uppercut is what took his legs out, or do you think it was, he was starting to lean, and do you think
the second hook already had his head kind of wobbling, and then the uppercut was basically what was done,
nasty.
And then the right hand was like, bonus, here's my last punch of my career.
And how cool was it that he didn't, he was done. He watched the dude fall and threw his hands up in the air, and he was like, that's it. That was awesome. So you heard it over and over again, and I don't think I asked you last podcast, and I think I know it's an easy answer, but do you have a favorite Robbie Lawler moment?
Oh, man. Well, I hate to talk about it as a favorite because Rory's my guy.
Yeah.
But the Rory McDonald, Robbie Lawler fights, like, you can't – it's very difficult to duplicate a 5-round war like that. And I just watched it the other night expecting a lot, and nothing happened for the first round and a half. It was very feel each other out for the first round and a half, almost 2 full rounds, and then boy, in the 3rd round it kicked off for the next 3 rounds. It was wild, and it went into the UFC Hall of Fame for the best fight in UFC history. And the reason I think it does that is because in round 4 and 5, as tired as they were, they stayed super technical. It wasn't like a brawl, or just guys scrapping. They're both very clean boxers, and they stayed with long jabs. Everything was still really clean, and they could barely stand up.
Did they maintain good footwork through it as well?
Yeah, Robbie has some of the best footwork in MMA. And so his boxing is very clean, and yes, they did.
I had forgot how bad his lip was split open after that fight. And when you see him now, whoever the plastic surgeon was that repaired him, man, it looks clean. You can hardly see it.
And he's going, screaming at the end, and it's opening, and like, hey, stop. Yeah. Close that.
The only other thing I've seen close to that was that Overeem, which was
so bad.
So disgusting.
So bad.
But yeah, I'm super excited for Robbie.
I've seen Robbie at some of the Bellator's cornering guys from ATT.
Yeah.
I hope he continues to do that. He said he's going to obviously be involved in the sport, and I hope that he continues to do that, and I hope I continue to see him.
Yeah, he's one of the greats. I think he does a lot for the sport, and just being around it and just showing up, I think, is awesome.
For sure.
Bo Nickal and Val Woodburn. I'm going to challenge you a little bit because in the preview you said we're not going to learn anything about Bo Nickal. Did we learn anything about Bo Nickel?
I don't know. I knew he hit hard. He definitely hit him hard, like jacked the dude's head sideways hard. And I made a comment before the fight started because the dude's neck was like this, thick, jacked like that. And I was like, well, he won't get knocked out easy. And his head goes bang, like it was on a swivel. And I was like, maybe he will. And then
I'm not
Bo
sure.
hits hard.
I
didn't know he did Golden Gloves boxing before,
Yeah.
like as a youngster.
I guess I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he's got. No, I'm sorry, I don't think Golden Gloves, but he did amateur boxing.
Okay.
And he his hands have looked good in a couple fights, and when you have the danger, the threat of the takedown, it's easy to land that punch, man. That Conor McGregor Khabib punch, that Kevin Randleman knocked out Crow Cop, who was 10 times the striker he was.
Yeah.
But that slight level change, overhand, and Bo's, I mean, you heard it.
I did. I was talking about it beforehand. I was at a sports bar watching the fight, and you could hear that crack over the people talking, the music.
That's
and
wild.
It was so loud, and I don't know that I've seen a right hook. It was a right hook, if I remember
He's
right.
southpaw. So basically, it would be a lead hook on a left-hander, but it's
So
on
clean.
a right-hander.
So clean.
It was very nice.
I know, Val took it on short notice. I stumbled and said it was a short fight, and you're like, yeah, it's going to be a short fight. And you called that. It was 38 seconds. And it went super quick. Do you think Bo jumps into the rankings after this?
So I think no, he won't jump in the rankings, but he may now get a guy who is in the top 15.
Okay.
Which will then put him in the rankings
okay.
if he beats that guy.
All right.
But I think now at this point, the UFC is going to be like, okay, I'm sure they're paying him well.
Yeah.
And so to continue to pay him well to fight nobodies is going to be difficult, especially when he keeps making – what, 4 of his fights are all under a minute? I think all of his fights are under a minute.
No.
And so maybe the guy that he arm triangled last was over a minute. I'm not sure, but I don't think there been too much.
You're okay. So Jamie Pickett was 254 in round 1, the fight before this, but none of them have got over round 1. In fact, you got almost 3 minutes, and then a minute. And then you got barely over 5 minutes. You've got like 5 minutes and 30 seconds worth of total
fight time.
Cage time.
Yeah,
in his
so he's
4
done
fights.
1 round of
So
fighting.
basically, he's got 1 round. That's
so, I mean, I think now he gets a guy that will be up in the top 15 maybe, and someone who's had a little bit of success in the UFC.
Yeah.
And then we'll, really get to see what's up. And we'll see what his game plan is. Is he trying to box with guys?
Yeah.
Is he trying to go out there and bang a little bit, or is he gonna, is he landing that to wrestle? I think he's landing it to wrestle, but wrestlers fall in love with their power, and that's how wrestlers end up losing.
Yeah.
They fall in love with their power, and then they start looking for that again and get caught in the middle of that. Hopefully, if he really wants to get to the top, his best route would be to punch to wrestle. And get there. And then if you want to experiment up there, go ahead.
Does he have a belt ranking in jiu-jitsu that you're aware of? Do you know?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
He's winning me over, and reluctantly and maybe even begrudgingly, but he's kind of winning me over.
It was definitely his least arrogant and most humble interview afterwards.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, maybe now he knows he's going to get somebody. So it's time to reel it in a little bit, dial it back a little bit, and see what happens. So I don't know. He's extremely high level athlete.
He's intriguing
for sure. And people are gonna even when I was kind of not talking shit on him, but saying that he should not be asking for this guy. He should not be asking or demanding to be on the pay-per-view on the main card.
Right.
But he's I always said that has the potential, to be great. He has the potential to for sure be that guy.
Yeah, he's shown up
But now he's got a baby on the way, so he may never sleep again. Who knows?
Yeah, right. Although that also may light a fire under him when you got to
True.
Now you got another mouth to feed, so things change a little.
True.
Third fight, Dan Hooker, Jalen Turner. We were talking again before. Dan Hooker won this fight, split decision, and I think it was close. Dan Hooker goes to 23-12. Jalen Turner falls to 13-7. This was a close fight.
Yeah, Dan Hooker broke his arm.
Yeah.
I think in the second round, could have been the first. I actually just watched a video of him talking about it, and I forget what he said as far as what round it was. But
was it blocking a leg kick? And
he said something about it got kicked once, and he think it like kind of cracked it.
Yeah.
And then he continued. He got kicked one more time that broke it. Then he got kicked 2 more times while he was. So, one of my fighters, Matt Lozano, he was blocking head kicks with the one arm out here, and his arm got kicked here, and he literally had to catch his arm because it broke in half and pick it up, and it's now stitched up here with a rod inside.
It's awful.
Dan Hooker, man, you can take this way, ear protect, and here.
Yeah.
You can take a very hard kick that way.
Yeah.
If you get there. If you block with one hand, you can kick straight through somebody's arm. Like, even when you see guys block with one hand and like, oh, he checked that. No, he didn't.
Still ate a bunch of that.
His hand slapped the crap out of him. You know what I mean? Like, and the shin behind it, you can't really check a kick with one hand. You're talking about a shin bone,
right,
to a bone that breaks on people, fairly regularly.
Yep.
And so it's
plus the inertia of the kick and everything that's coming around.
Yeah,
and
it's
the
like a baseball bat.
coming in.
It's like a baseball bat.
Absolutely.
So I don't remember if I think he won the fight. I think I might have thought that Jalen Turner won the fight. It was close.
It was a split decision.
I did want Dan Hooker to win, and I'm glad that he did. But I'm not sure that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that Jalen was disappointed when they raised Hooker's hand.
Yeah.
But I'm glad Hooker won. I'm glad to see him get on the other side of a couple losses.
If I remember right, they were ranked 11-12.
Yeah.
So, which is interesting because I'm looking right now and it looks like they both dropped. Well, no, 11-12, but it shows that they both dropped. I don't know, and Grant Dawson jumped up 11-12.
Oh,
so
okay,
I guess that must have been a drop beforehand. Jalen came in ranked a little higher than Dan.
Got it.
I want to like Dan Hooker. I like him. I think he's kind of one of those blue-collar fighters that just goes in and gets crapped in. I don't know if you saw afterwards, there's a great picture of both of them in the hospital room.
No, but I've seen some great pictures of guys like that. I just looked at the Rory and Robbie picture like that.
And they're both in the hospital on different beds, like talking to each other. Hooker's hair's all red still from the blood that was in it. And
yeah. I like Dan Hooker. During COVID, he got stuck over here for quite a while. He wasn't able to see his family, his wife and kids, and was training for a fight. And then he was just about to leave to go back, and they asked him to fight somebody else, and he stayed and continued to train for that fight. And so he didn't see them for quite a long time, and you could tell that it was getting to him. I know he needed the money. Obviously, the money that they make at the top, they need that money. It's not $25,000 that is cool and nice, and I'll put it towards something, and now it's gone. It's they're making in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, so it's something that they need. So he stayed and fought somebody, and I believe he lost the fight, but regardless, he took one for the UFC and took a short notice fight and stayed here. So I like him. He's out of City Boxing where's he from? Izzy and Volkanovski, those guys are out of the same gym. So
did you see the video of Volkanovski?
Yes.
Before the fight, just erupting, and I was looking back through COVID, and I'm wondering if it was a short notice fight. I'm thinking it might have been Islam or Arnold Allen. Could have been one of those two. Those are the two losses that he had during
How far apart are they, or are they from a win?
So it was from a win. He won in September of 2021, and then 2020. Yeah, okay, there it is. There it is, right there. Yeah, it was Islam Makhachev. He took Makhachev on short notice. It was a month after he fought and won against I don't know how to pronounce it. Nazarat. I don't know. I don't recognize that guy.
Oh yeah, he's tough. So yeah, he stayed for a month and fought again.
Got paid for it. That's awesome. This fight surprised me a lot. DRICUS du Plessis really kind of took it to Robert Whittaker. Won in 2 minutes 23 seconds in round 2.
Yeah.
Did
I didn't
Whittaker
think Robert
quit?
Well, maybe. I don't think he looked good from jump. I think it's either catching up to him now, or he just had an off night. But if you think about it, he had, I think, 2 wars with Yoel Romero. He had 2 not wars, but one-sided wars kind of with Izzy. 1 5-round war where he went the distance, 1 where he got knocked out. And he's just, he's had hard fights. And he's very good, man. He's so tough, and I just think he did not look good even from the beginning.
It felt
he looked off.
It felt like something, and I couldn't tell if it was just that du Plessis was that good. He looked gigantic.
And he did.
Holy cow.
And I haven't watched him fight a lot like I have Whittaker. Okay. So I don't know, if he's always looked great, but he did look very good.
So du Plessis, you saw they pulled up Izzy. That was a little bit of a debacle.
I think I just said this on a couple podcasts ago that I think that they're dropping the ball by bringing in the next guy during this guy's celebration. For one, he just went through a freaking war. He just went through a fight. He just got hit a bunch. You don't know, give him till the press conference.
Yeah.
Let him decompress for a second. But to bring him in there and have him going off on him like that, it causes, sure, good TV, I guess. But there's a lot of people complaining about it, not liking it as well online.
It feels really WWE to me.
Yeah,
it feels really manufactured. And I don't think these fights are good enough. I don't think you need to manufacture hype. I think du Plessis Adesanya is going to be a great fight. I don't think you need to manufacture that.
No. Did you see all the stuff with people asking Dana White about the racism from Israel Adesanya in the cage?
No.
He said, what do you mean? Who was using racism? And the guy goes, well, Izzy dropped a lot of N-bombs in there. And he goes, okay, so where was the racism? And he goes, well, and he goes, who said it? And he goes, Izzy. And he goes, well, he's black, right? He's black. And he goes, who gives a shit? And what other promotion, head guy, CEO, whatever of a company, he does, whether you like him or not, he lets these guys say whatever they want, whether it's political, whether it's religion, whether it's language, whatever it is, he's going to let you say it, and I do appreciate that. I thought Izzy sounded ignorant. I did not like him standing there talking the way he was talking. He was trying to make a point because du Plessis is from South Africa. He's from Nigeria. And it was, he kept calling him that over and over again, like 10, 15 times at least. And I was just like, oh my gosh. But I don't know. I'm not an Izzy fan. I enjoy watching him fight. He's a great fighter, phenomenal.
Yep.
But I just, that's all.
I know this fight broke your hearts. Pantoja, Brandon Moreno. It went all 5 rounds, and I think I texted you at the end of round 4, and I just wrote score, and you were just like, I don't know.
I had it 2-2 going into the 5th round.
Yeah.
But I would have to rewatch it again to see if it was 3-1 going into the 5th round.
For Pantoja?
Yeah. I had it 2-2 because I obviously wanted Brand to win. I love that dude and really, really wanted him to win. And we've talked about this, but at Glory, at Fortis, at all these gyms, everyone turns their back to get to the feet, okay? Because it is the easiest way to get to your feet. It's the easiest way to turn tripod, quad pod, and get to your feet. However, if you have a good jiu-jitsu guy, like a handful of my team, my child for one, Ty, Garrett, like my good jiu-jitsu guys, you do that to get up and you just lost that round. You may have lost the fight by getting submitted, but you for sure lost that round by getting body triangled. You know, they'll take your back hooks in, and now you just lost the round. So Brandon did it repeatedly. Got his back taken, body triangled, and then spent the time. Pantoja basically burned the clock, you know, and was winning minutes of the round. So it was frustrating to see because one time he got shot on, and right away just turned around to his back and started fighting the hands. Instantly had that bottom hook in, instantly the body triangle, and then the rest of the round took place like that. And so there are ways to get up that are a little bit harder, but keep you in good position.
Okay.
And so you lose maybe 15, 20 seconds as opposed to giving up the whole round. You're now back on your feet facing him. He's not behind you. You know, and it's frustrating from a coach's standpoint because I know you have to know your opponent. Pantoja's a good jiu-jitsu black belt. Yeah. People know that. Brandon knew that. He got choked by him before. So Cooley showed that he couldn't get choked by him this time, but he's still like, you know, lost the position. And so I was very bummed. His jab, Brandon's jab, looked phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, it was on point. That was like a old school GSP-esque jab. It was landing hard. I thought it was going to make him wilt. The second round, he really hurt Pantoja and started to kind of break him down. And then Pantoja came back in the 3rd round and was on fire again. I'm like, man, this guy's getting a second win because he started to look tired. Yeah. And then he continued to push hard. And I was so bummed every time it happened, whether it was on the feet, giving up the back, or on the ground. But he got out positioned. That was literally it. He got out positioned, and so it was frustrating.
When you look at the scorecards, it's super interesting. One judge, Ben Cartilage, actually scored at 49-46. Moreno. Yeah. And that one shocked me a little bit. And I've got the scorecards right here. Basically, he gave Brandon rounds 2 through 5. 5 is a hard argument for me. 3 was the one that was really tough. If I remember right, after 3 rounds, the significant strikes were 15 apiece. Right. But Pantoja had 3 takedowns. Right. He was credited with 3 takedowns. But it's a matter of damage done. And
the takedown control at the end wasn't as bad as I thought. It was like 4 minutes to Pantoja, 2 minutes something to Brandon. I thought it seemed like a lot more, but that's what I remember seeing on the screen. I was like, really? Because I thought Pantoja had more control time than that on the ground.
Going into round 5, I think I saw it the same way as you and the other 2 judges, which had it 2 apiece.
They did. Okay.
It was only the one judge that already had it 3-1 for Brandon at that point.
As much as I would have liked that the way it been, it wasn't that way.
It wasn't. No, I don't think it was that way. I feel like Pantoja stole round 5. I feel like what he did is backed him up, and I know he controlled him.
He ended up on his back again.
But he also had him up against the cage for what, 2 minutes maybe?
Yeah, maybe, I'm not sure.
And just kind of stalling, and there was some hand fighting, and he just kind of pressed on him.
At some point, he ended up on the back because that's when I looked at Lucas. I said he just lost the fight. Like, he just gave up the position in the last round where it was like the tiebreaker round, you know. And so I hope that the coaching goes back and has the humility enough to say, hey, this is wrong. We shouldn't have done that with this guy. This is not the way. Let's correct that. That's something that needs corrected for sure. Humility and that coach don't go hand in hand, so we'll see. But man, I wish I could get my hands on him. He's his striking looked great. Takedown defense was fairly good at certain times. Against the fence early on, he put Pantoja against the fence, was lifting him. Pantoja's feet were barely even touching the ground, and had full control. And he'd been training wrestling with Nick Piccinini, who's a Oklahoma State All-American, and then it just kind of went away as the fight went on.
It was a barn burner, though.
It was a great fight.
Great, objectively, without if you didn't have any skin in the game, it was a great fight to watch.
Brandon just posted something earlier today and said, when this is all said and done, it's going to be the most watched Netflix movie of all time. Because you remember, like, if he comes back again, that'll be, he fought in the UFC, he got cut. He went back, fought on the small circuit, came back, won the belt, lost the belt now. Lost the belt, won the belt back again, and now lost it again. So,
do you think Pantoja gets Figueiredo next, or do you think they run this one back?
So I didn't think they would run it back, but people were saying that in the press conference, Dana was talking about it was a very close fight. They may run it back, and I'm thinking, oh, that'd be awesome. Brandon's a cash cow for them. He's Mexico. He brings all of Mexico.
And it's interesting. I really wanted him to win it. I just kept hoping he would, but the more I watched it, the more I was just like, I don't see it.
Did you hear Pantoja when it was over? Man, it was sad. Apparently, he's got an absent father, left him a long time ago, and he was screaming into the camera, "Are you proud of me now? Are you proud of me now, Dad?" And I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, holy smokes! Yeah, it was wild. I was like, "Oh, heartbroken."
I hope his dad heard that.
Me too.
Me too. That's awful. All right, main event of the evening. Volkanovski, Yair Rodriguez. Volkanovski finished him with 4 minutes and 19 seconds in round 3. Right hook took him down. How about Volkanovski?
God, what a monster, huh? He landed a combo in, I don't know what round it was, but he landed a knee, something to the head, hook to the body, huge uppercut, and then just grabbed him, picked him up in the air, and slammed him with a double leg.
Yes.
But it was pop, 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 pop. Picked him up and slammed him. And I was just like, dude, he just made him look so bad for those 10 seconds. Like, it was like, holy crap.
He was literally like a heavy bag just hanging there.
Whatever he wanted to do right then, he did it.
And I feel like, and this is something you've mentioned this before, and I've actually, it's super hard. I've tried this, is when you get a hook to the body and then come up with a hook to, and it's like bang, bang. I mean, I don't know how they reload that fast. And the second one, the body one's awesome, and they reload and come back. And Volkanovski did this. And when he caught the second hook to the chin, there was power behind it, but it was like that fast. I don't know how somebody reloads that quickly, man.
And then an uppercut to get his hands up, which opened up his legs for the double leg.
Picked him up and ragdolled him.
It was such a great combination.
The thing that struck me most from Volkanovski, and it made me think, I think we talked about this before, when he played rugby, I think he ran at like 205 when he played fly half when he was playing rugby. He was 200 pounds. And
higher, right? Was he not like 210, 215?
Maybe.
Yeah, I thought he was.
Maybe.
I was like, holy crap. And he's fighting at 145.
145. And you could see it when he walked in, when the first bell rang, they walked in there, and the way he's bouncing in and out, it's like he weighed 20 pounds. He was so light, and he moved so quickly. I've never seen anybody with that kind of power and lightness in their legs that Volkanovski has. It's way different than any other fighter I've seen.
He definitely has some of the best, if not the best, range control in and out.
Yeah.
And his arm is long as hell for some reason. Longer than Yair's. But he's in and out. He controls the range so well for a short guy. What is he, 5'6"?
Yeah, I think so. That's what he's listed as. And
Yeah.
I think that all starts with his feet because he's so light and he can bounce
Yeah,
so
yo,
well. It's
no
like he's
question.
on a trampoline.
No
he
question.
He bounces so well.
And God, he can go and go and go and go.
God,
Doesn't
just
get tired. It's wild.
Got a gas tank. I really hope they run back the Makhachev fight because
Yeah, I don't want to see him lose.
yeah.
I really would love him to win that fight.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him lose right now just because he's such a monster. But I don't know. I guess they're talking about either that or Topuria at 45.
Okay.
Ilya.
At 45?
Yes.
Okay, there. Okay. Yep.
But
I mean, he's dispatched Holloway. He's dispatched Yair. I think he's beaten Ortega as well, hasn't he?
oh yeah,
So it,
bad.
I mean, I'm just kind of looking. I just don't see a lot of people that are going to give Volkanovski any kind of.
I agree.
I think that guy's going to sit there for a little bit.
I mean, I think he could, unless he goes to 55. If he goes to 55, he'll have fights. For sure, he'll have tough fights.
Yeah.
45, I just don't know who's left to give him problems.
But when you look at 55, we know Makhachev, he brought that all the way to the distance, close fight. It'd be interesting. I don't think Oliveira's got a chin. He's proved that over and over again, but I don't know that he's got a chin. I don't know if he's got that kind of chin.
No, he doesn't.
Gaethje would be an interesting fight.
Yeah.
And Poirier, I don't know. I look at the outside of Makhachev. As much as I love Poirier and Gaethje and Beneil and Chandler, I just start looking at the top 5 there, and I just feel like Alex takes them. Is that wrong?
No, it's not wrong. It's definitely a possibility. It'd be fantastic. I'd love to see it. You know, we'll see what he does. We'll see.
Wow. Well, it was super great fights. I was super excited with this card. I think Rogan was saying that this might be the card of the year, and I think you could. I know it's only July.
That's fight week, right?
Yeah.
You know, UFC fight week or whatever.
Yeah, International Fight Week, I think is what
yeah.
they called it. So
Yeah.
it was
Cool.
It was awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We will see you on the next one. Like, share, subscribe to the channel.
It is all over, just like that.